Well, hello there. Today we are going to start the very first dragon from the dragon collection I have to paint from the game Arena the Contest. Now this one is the Skeleton Dragon. Let me just double check before I make a mistake. It's the Undead Dragon, not the Skeleton Dragon. It's called the Undead Dragon, which kind of is the same thing really. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to block in all the colours first. Absolutely super simple paint today. We're going to use skeleton bone over the whole miniature, and we're going to use some nice juicy blood coloured reds for the actual skin tones there. So what I'll do is we'll get that primer coat on and then I'll come back. I'll give you a little 360 first. It's an absolutely beautiful sculpt. Absolutely fantastic. Now I'm painting this for my friend Dave. He sent me the whole box of these miniatures, so I'm hoping to get this finished today, and then hopefully I'll get to pay him a visit soon, so he can add this to his collection. Okay, I'll be back with this all primed up and ready to go. But it's a very simple paint, skeleton bones. It's really a case of adding that skeleton bone, then adding a brown ink wash, and then just highlighting it all up, and it really comes out superbly. Okay, I added the skeleton bone. I've actually used graveyard bone. This is graveyard bone here. Graveyard bone from Reaper Miniatures MSP line of paints, and what I've done, I've covered the whole miniature, and as you can see I've even gone over the skin areas. Now the reason I've done that is because it makes it easier for when we add the red. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to add that red once this is dry, so we've got to give it a few more minutes. Is we're going to dry brush all the red over all the areas where the flesh is around this miniature, and because we've painted that skeleton bone below the flesh line, that skeleton bone will actually come through and work in our favour with the miniature. So we do a very heavy red paint with a nice gory flesh tone here, but once that's dry we'll start that. So we're now on to the exciting part. This is the dry brushing. Now I found some beautiful colour. We have Fresh Blood by MSP Paints. Absolutely beautiful, nice, very strong colour. And remember, we will be down in the colour afterwards with a ink wash. But what we're going to do is go over all the areas that's got flesh on, and we're just going to start a nice heavy dry brush over all these areas. And this will be our flesh coming through. So all the areas that will have flesh on, and of course the bone is then coming through, and we're left with a nice looking fleshy, dirty, grimy, nasty looking undead dragon. So only the areas where the flesh is, we're leaving all the bones open, and we go over this a few times. Just add in our red. And what's good about this is if you do go over it, it doesn't matter because it's an undead dragon, and you're going to have blood and guts and bits of bone will be covered in red and blood. And once you add the brown ink wash, which we're going to do after we've done the red, it'll all blend in anyway. It's just you want to get that fleshy, bloody area to make it look even more gory. And what will happen is once we add the ink wash, that'll bring out all the details, but it will also tone down the areas of blood. Like so. Okay, so I'll finish this off and then we'll add that ink wash. So all we're doing is we're going over all the areas like so, and we're just dry brushing the red on, and then we add Agrax Earthshade over the top. So I'll come back after I've added that Agrax Earthshade. Very simple paint today, and if you do this for your models, you'll be very happy at the end result. The beautiful dark brown ink wash has been added to the whole miniature, and as you can see it's gone into all the recesses, and it's really brought this miniature to life. And as you can see now, the flesh is popping through, all the details are showing just by adding that beautiful brown ink wash around the whole miniature. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going back to the original colour. We're using the graveyard bone, and I'm just going to dry brush this graveyard bone over the highest areas of the miniature, so on the face here, and this will just bring out the highlights on the horns and just really picking out certain areas. Top of the horns here, this will give a nice little highlight. And again we'll do this along the backbone of the miniature as well, and also on the skulls. So it's just the highest areas, just taking a little dry brush just to give a little light source there. There we are, nothing major, but it's just enough to start picking out some nice parts of the bone. Okay, and of course we're going to do the base as well. So around the base, certain parts, skeletons' heads, we just add a little bit of this highlight. Nice and fast and simple. It's just adding a little bit of light across the dark brown, and it makes a huge difference to the miniature just by adding this little highlight. It just all works together and makes the dragon look even more nicer than it is. Okay, so we're just going to let this all dry and we'll finish the eyes. Now for the eyes, we're just going to use some dragon white and we're going to put in a pupil. So that's the next thing we'll do. Oh, so for the eyes, we are using a dragon white for the main part of the eye. So we're just adding some dragon white in here. Same with the other side. Dragon white. And all we need to do then is we're just going to add a little bit of pure black for the center of the eye. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the edge of the eye with the black as well. So first of all, we're going to add the actual center of the eye, and I'm just going to go for a little line across, like so. And now I'm going to darken the eye by adding a shade at the top, going across the top of the eye and back. This will highlight the eye and make it stand out more by adding that black line above the eye. There we are. That's all we need to do for the eye. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some gloss varnish. I'll actually satin varnish. I'm going to use satin varnish. It's not so strong as gloss. So we're going to use satin varnish, and I'm going to add that to all the flesh areas of this miniature. And then once that's done, I'm going to give you a 360 of the finished miniature.